Strategy in chess games. What is strategy? Strategy in chess is the planning of how to get various kinds of advantage in the game. Tactics are types of moves that can result in an advantage if the opportunity exits to use it. Bobby Fischer said, "Tactics flow from a superior position. Control the center of the board as quickly as possible. This gives you the upper hand and allows you to craft attacks while also defending against your opponent's attacks. When you control the center of the board, you maximize your ability to move while also limiting your opponent's ability to move without being captured. Getting the center pawns a couple of spaces out in the first couple of moves of the game gives you a good head start toward controlling the middle of the board. For example, a knight in a corner only has 2 options to move, but from a central square, it has as many as 8 options. Try to think a move or 2 ahead. Chess isn't a game that you can play one turn at a time. Consider all of the pieces and their possible moves. Then make your move based on what might happen a move or 2 down the road. Seasoned chess players call this calculating. Protect your king. If your opponent puts your king in checkmate, that's the end of the game. So you want to protect your king at all costs. At the start of every turn, evaluate your king's position and where it might be vulnerable. As a beginner, it's always better to take a move to shore up your king's defenses than to attack. Get all of your pieces involved in the game. None of your pieces are powerful at all if they just sit on the back row and do nothing. While you don't necessarily want to develop your queen too early in the game, your other pieces can definitely come forward to build a powerful defense and lay the groundwork for future attacks. This also keeps the board active and lively. Your opponent will be on the alert trying to figure out what you're doing. Avoid sacrificing pieces unnecessarily. There's nothing wrong with a sacrifice play from time to time, but try to keep them to a minimum. A piece lost can't be regained. And if you get too far down, you'll have a hard time defending against a multi-pronged attack from your opponent. Try to get into your opponent's head to figure out their strategy. Every time your opponent makes a move, ask yourself why they made that move. If you can figure out what they're trying to do, you might be able to do something to disrupt their plans or at least make them more difficult to pull off. Let's see some instructive games.
It was Kraken defense. Not very popular line for black. I found a little bit more than 200 games in my database, and white scored almost 70% here. After Queen E2, white created a first tactical threat, pretty simple one. If black blunders and play Bishop E7, white will capture on F7, which will lead to checkmate. For example, like that. Did black blunder that simple tactic? Of course he didn't. Black replied 95. Now they continue development, and white played Bishop B3 with the idea C4 to gain some space and control over center. Black should have stopped that idea by playing B5. Now C4 does not promise white much. That position is going to be equal. So white most likely will continue something like A4. Or maybe C3. In the game, black made a mistake, he allows white to play c4 and played castle. Let's illustrate this idea by some modern games. Nowadays, black prefers to play knight d5 immediately and in similar structure. If black allows white to play c4, and even more important, to trade dark bishop, white will get an advantage, like, for example, in this game, Balashov-Galkin. I will not stop in details of this game. Obviously, white got an advantage, and later they won again. If black stopped that ideas by playing b5, black is actually doing pretty fine. Grandmaster Rasmussen defended this position several times, and it was successful. If black plays b5, white can continue a4. But it does not seem that white has much of advantage. Black position is alright, and if they play, for example, castle, that's approximately equal, and black can successfully defend these positions. Back to the game, Maslov-Golombek. Black did not play b5 in the game. He chose castle. I've already mentioned that was a mistake, and white pushed the knight away from d5. It went to f6. If knight goes to f4, it won't really change much. White will attack it, play c5, and also have an advantage. After knight f6, Vasily Maslov continued bishop c2, which is a good move. There is very interesting tactical idea to play knight e5. That is a little bit computerish. The point is, if black takes on e5, white will not recapture but win this knight, who take it later. Knight on e5 cannot be saved. It's better for black to give it on f3, but after the bishops traded, in this position white has clear advantage. I'm not sure Vasily Maslov consider a move like knight e5. That is more tactical solution. He just played a simple and good move, bishop c2, and then moved his knight away. White would like to avoid trading pieces, because it is obvious white is having a space advantage. Then, in this position, white could have also tried c5. It's going to be good. White is clearly better. He played a rook e1. Bishop on c8 is a pretty poor piece. Now black has to decide what he is going to do with this bishop. Most likely, black should play b6. And after knight e5, white can choose, for example, b3. In all of those positions, white keep his advantage, but it would not be as big as it happened to be in the game. knight e5 seems to be better. And then, bishop f4. Tactical blow, knight take f7, would not work here. That is going to be a blunder. If black takes, and we take on e6, after king f8 there is no checkmate. If white tries to checkmate, black will win because white queen is trapped. So, white should continue to use positional means like bishop f4, and white is better, but it is not decisive advantage. In the game, black made a strategical blunder. He played bishop f4. Dark square bishop of black is a good piece, while light squared one on c8 is a bad one. Most of black pawns are on the light square. So, that is wrong what black is doing. He should not have traded his good bishop. After bishop f4, white played knight e5. It would be also good just to trade the bishops. But these lines are a little bit tactical. White can play knight e5, leaving pawn d4 unprotected. It seems that black cannot capture that pawn. If they do, white will play rook d1, queen d6, and then take on f7. Here, this blow will perfectly work. There is no defense for black in this position, but white prefer to play knight e5, not calculating any tactical tricks. Black is forced to trade his good bishop. Black captured on c1 and defended on e6 to prevent all the tactics on f7 by playing knight f8. Bishop on d7 is going to be very poor. After white played c5, it is unclear how to bring that piece to life, and white bishop on c2 is quite opposite. It is very good piece. White gave up an outpost pawn d5, so black knight will get a strong square. But instead, white is getting square d6, which is even better. So, black set his knight on d5, and white is bringing his knight to d6. How can we estimate this position? It seems that white is in a very big advantage, because his pieces are much more active and better placed. Modern player would consider to immediately sacrifice an exchange on d6. By playing rook takes d6, black won't solve all of his problems. There is no sufficient compensation for black for extra material which white has, so white will be better here as well. In the game, black did not sacrifice an exchange. He continued d6, and after rook b8 tried to attack pawn on b2. Vasily Smyslov defended pawn b2 by playing knight c4. It was not really necessary. If white plays bishop a4, attacking pawn c6 Black would not be able to win pawn b2. After bishop b3, rook is going to be rough. But it is decided to defend the pawn. Now, it seems that black is attacking pawn c4. White left this pawn and played queen e4. One more, a little tactical trick. Can black capture pawn c4? No, he cannot. After queen h7 check, black king is going to get checkmate. To checkmate the king, white need to prevent it going to e7, which is not very hard task. White will play knight f5, and black will get checkmate. Did black blunder that mate? No, he did not. I've already mentioned black did not blunder any tactic in this game. Black played knight f6, protecting h7, and the game continued. White slowly and steadily improving his position. Black does not have any counter play. It seems that white is already winning. Black position is very passive and pieces are very poor. White is planning to bring his rook to g3 with a strong attack. Black tried to push white pieces a little bit away. Now, white queen went to g3. What kind of tactics can be here? Queen on g3 is in front of unprotected black queen on c7. So we can think about some sort of discover attack, intermediate check on e7, and black has to watch for the moves like knight takes f4. Did he blunder that? No. He defended his queen by playing knight d5. White continued improving his position. Rook left to c1. That is not very dangerous for white, not dangerous at all. And queen to h4. Finally, white is attacking on c6. And black cannot defend it in any good way if he tries to play bishop d7. White queen will sneak on f7 and white position is winning. So, at that very moment, black finally decided to sacrifice an exchange on d6. There is no any good choice for him, but that sacrifice does not help at all. That is too late. The position is completely lost. He took. There is no any compensation for losing material. Pawn on c6, falling immediately other pawns. e6 and f4 are very weak. White captured. And in few moves, black resigned. He is down material and in a bad position. Now, let's have a look at another example and keep talking about importance of tactics and strategy. In the game Malaha-Nielsen, white is having an advantage. White control over center is better, his pieces more active, And even there is an option of some tactics later, because of rook d1 is standing in front of black queen. But right now there is nothing sharp and no direct threat. What should black do in this position? It is not so easy to suggest a good move for black. If, for example, they play rook e8, white might continue h3, and it's not so easy to find a good place for bishop c8. Most likely, black should have played bishop g4. But in the game, he decided to continue with bishop c5. Bishop c5 creates some more tactical pattern. Queen c2 is in front of that bishop, and rook is still in front of black queen. Does it mean that white can win some material? No, he cannot, but he can use these tactical weaknesses to trade that bishop on c5. Why is that important? After white forced black to trade bishop c5, all dark squares in the black camp are going to be weak, especially square d6. So, in the game, white played knight e4. Now, some pieces started hanging. Black traded his bishop on g4. Did he have better choice? Probably not. If he took on a4, then white is going to win minimum pawn on h7, because it's hanging and bishop on c5 is hanging too. He trade on d4. White can reply bishop b4, adding some more threats. Take on h7, and white is completely winning. If black move the bishop back, changing his mind, white would trade. And now there is a discover attack by playing knight c6. Queen will not help black to win that knight, because white has bishop d6 and white is winning one e-game. So after knight d4, black traded his dark square bishop. White did not recapture pawn d4, but used some tactics and intermediate move. White played bishop b4, attacking rook on f8, and rook went to e8. Black could have tried to sacrifice an exchange, but it won't help. White can accept and move his king to h1. It looks like black got 2 pawns for exchange, but here, even if white just play rook e1, his position is winning, because all white pieces are active and black still have undeveloped queen side. Moreover, white can win on the spot. He can take pawn f7 and win black's queen. If black capture with the queen, there will be check on d8, and if with the king, then skewer on f1. And that position is lost for black. So, after bishop b4, he went rook e8, White recaptured. Black blocked with knight on g5. Knight f to g5 would not be better, because of knight g6. That is the result of trading dark square bishop by black. Now dark squares are weak and white pieces can go there. What a fantastic setup for white. All tactics here will work for white benefit, because his pieces are better placed. For example, white can take pawn on a7, then trade on d5, and take on c8 with a winning endgame. In the game, black blocked with another knight, knight b to d5. White also played knight g6 the similar way. Rook does not have a good place to go, because all dark square belongs to white. He played rook e5. e7 and f8 are not available. Taking bishop is not good option, because then there will be discovered attack. Rook e6 will get into fewer. And after rook e5, which was played in the game, white replied knight c4. And now he want to use that pin and to prevent knight take before counter-attacking. White moved his queen to c1, creating a threat of e4, attacking the pin piece. So, black queen left while the queen went to g7, to d8, maybe a little bit better, but it would not help either. White can continue e4, maybe even think about e4 to stop black from playing b4. So let's try a4. Now b5 would lose, because all black pieces hanging. And even rook a8, which is under attack, cannot leave because of rook f4, so white is winning here. If after a4 black continue bishop f5, white can move the bishop back, freeing square g6 for the knight to put the other piece there, and insist on fork c4, and white is going to win. There is no way for black to prevent it and save material. If now they play b5, white will capture. Play knight g6. These lines require calculation. But why all of this tactic possible? Because black weakened his dark square by trading his dark square bishop. Bishop pawn f5 now hanging. If it moves to g6, black is losing a piece. If he tried to take on d6, at the end of variation, white will play e4. And win. It's not possible for black to save both pieces. In the game, black played queen g7. White immediately replied e4. black is losing, b5 does not help, white can take. That is a bit similar to what we've already seen after queen d8. White is winning, knight take e4 does not help either. All tactics works here for white. That is not by chance, it's because white pieces are better placed and much more active. Knight on d5 is under attack, and if it tries to leave, white will win the rook on a8. So white is winning again. In the game, black played knight b6. White replied bishop c5. Queen went to c7. e6 is not much better, because white will capture on b6. Protect his knight, and that is just bad position for black. Black is pawn down, with white pieces still much more active. After queen c7, white again set the knight on d6. Rook does not have squares to go. Rook e5 will run into f4. Rook e6. White can continue knight f5. Setting bishop on d6. Square d6 is very important for white in all of those variations. White pieces are taking turns to occupy that place, always with decisive effect. After bishop d6, once queen go, white can play queen g5, threatening checkmate in 1. And after knight e7, white will win again. All of this happening on dark square. If rook goes to f8, it will come under attack from bishop c5 once again. White will just take it. So black chose rook d8, but now there is another tactic, back rank checkmate. White late knight d5. This is tactical solution, but all of the tactics in the game are happening because black weakened his dark square. After knight b5, black has no choice, they have to take. Rook takes d8 is going to be checkmate. Queen c7 is defender. What can white do with the defender? White used destruction, and after queen f4, black resigned because he is losing queen. If take on f4, it's going to be checkmate, and if take on d4, black has absolutely no compensation for losing his queen. White is absolutely winning. What was more important in that game? Tactics or strategy? There were so many tactical means. We have seen discover attack, pin, forks, and at the end, back rank checkmate and destruction. All of those things are tactical, and of course white had to work it out to win the game. But once again, all of these tactics became possible because black made a strategic mistake. He weakened his dark square. We start learning about strategy when we are beginners. I shared with you my very first encounter with it.
Thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to give us a like and subscribe.